So this is Louis, and I figure I should talk about this because it appears to be an issue. I was actually surprised how many people responded immediately to the tweet, and when I looked around on Twitter, I was like, oh, okay, the Outer Worlds, like this is actually some kind of controversy, and I haven't really waded into it too much because I've been busy today. I got to get a new vehicle, so I got to deal with that. I'm also sick, and that's rare for me. You know how I sound? I don't sound like... I'm not sniffing, I'm not coughing, I'm not clearing my throat. When I get sick, it's not the common cold. You know, there's people, not to speak ill of him, but no pun intended, but Short Fat Otaku is sick all the time. He is perpetually sick. And there's many people like him that are perpetually sick. I'm the opposite. I am rarely sick. And when I do get sick, it is not the common cold. It is fucking Debo showing up.
What's up, Smoke?
I don't really know how many people are going to get that reference. When I was growing up, like when I went to middle school and high school, people talked about Friday, Friday after next Friday. You know, for whatever reason, like there was a lot of black comedy that was popular when I was growing up. So I've seen all of like the late 90s like black comedy films that are super popular and sourced and stuff. I don't really get it. That was like pre-internet sort of shit too. And it's not like I went to like a 70 something percent or even higher 80% white middle school and high school. So explain that. I can't. But anyways, I want to talk about the Outer Worlds because it seems like people are waiting to buy it. It seems like people have either bought it and are trying to justify their purchase, or they're basically looking for a reason to buy it and they want people to give it praise. And honestly, I'm not really here to give you like a really over-the-top ranting opinion about the game. I find it to be mediocre at best. The dialogue is actually fairly well written, but the problem is that there's so many other aspects of the game that weigh it down that it's not New Vegas. Like if you expect this to be Fallout New Vegas, you will be horrifically surprised by this game. It's closer to Rage 2 than it is to Fallout New Vegas, and I mean that. And if anyone wants to debate me on that, that's fine. I had somebody on Twitter arguing with me, and I was like, okay, explain to me the depth of this game that I'm missing. Explain to me what I'm missing while I'm playing this game. This is a mediocre game. This is not a good game. I'm not going to say it's necessarily a bad game, but in my book, it's not a good game. Because I find little reason to continue playing it. It's boring. And out of everything, like... I liked playing Cade & Lynch 2. I like games that can be bad, but at least keep my interest. If your game is boring, it's less than dog shit to me. And I've seen somebody say this recently while reviewing movies, and it's the same opinion that I have. Bad can still be interesting. It's not like the red letter media kind of let's laugh at these bad movies. It's the thing that even bad movies can be thought-provoking, can be interesting, can keep your attention. And not in just the sense of let's watch, how bad this can get, but simply that it's a decent idea that's poorly executed. But with this game, it is a mediocre idea, poorly executed. It's attempting to be Borderlands, but with a sort of weird, woke BioShock aesthetic. And, I'm not going to just flat out say that this is, a shitty SJW propaganda game, but it's clearly tainted by those kind of influences. And I don't just mean the short haircuts that nearly every woman in the game has, or the neon haircuts that nearly every male and female in the game has. It's not just the forced diversity that is through and throughout this game. I haven't seen anyone say this yet, but the females in the game can have facial hair. And it's even beyond that of what was in Dragon Age. Like, Dragon Age, it was woke back in the day to give dwarves facial hair for females. They did that in the game, and they justified it through the lore. Although I don't really think they could have. Women can grow facial hair. It's just they wax it off or they shave it or whatever. The purpose of including that, is to deconstruct feminine beauty. It's to deconstruct femininity. It's the rejection of femininity. And it seems to me that the only thing that leads to is misery and failure and a higher suicide rate. Like, I'm dispassionately saying that. It's whatever. It's not new. Like, none of this is innovative. Like, even in the case of being SJW nonsense, like, this is so trite. This is so done before. Like, even in the case that you are pandering, and it probably is, I don't even care to argue that it is pandering. Like, can you tell from my position that I just don't care? The fact is that there is SJW shit in this game. And it is present. By that, I mean, you can clearly see it. It's not just like, you know, some random storyline about a lesbian relationship, or I'm gay, or I'm a character in Andromeda, I'm trans, up until we patch it out. The ugly aesthetic seems to be what a lot of people are picking up on in terms of the female characters. Yes. Is that deliberate? Probably. Is this something that they're conscious of, really? I don't know. In Andromeda, you know, Mass Effect, it clearly was, because they changed the design of races to do it. That was clearly a conscious decision. But in this game, who knows? It could simply be the aesthetic of the game like it was in, let's say, Brink, where the aesthetic is just exaggerated and somewhat, you know, uglier, okay? Is it conscious? Who knows? I can't really say. Are there SJWs working for this company? Yes. That's something that I didn't really know of prior to, I think, one writer who I knew was working for the company. But I've seen people passing that around. I've seen somebody that replied to me about that fact. I didn't know that up until I played the game. But playing the game, it's not very surprising that that is the case, considering the sheer amount of forced nonsense that is in the game. And I'm sorry, but that weighs down the quality of the game, because simply, you know, your jokes aren't funny. Your post-ironic humor of, hey, we're in this horrible, desperate situation and no one takes it seriously. Isn't that funny? No. Hey, hey, Ken Levine, wouldn't BioShock be a better game if no one took what was going on seriously? No. You know, hey, we have these spacey, colorful aesthetics. Is it comparable to the colorful aesthetics of, let's say, Far Cry 4? No. Hey, the gameplay is closer to an old-style RPG. Like, this is getting back to basics. Is it better than what you could find in fucking Fallout 4 or Skyrim or anything basic that's coming out of Bethesda or whoever else? Is it anything really different than that? No. Is it really doing anything that's much different to New Vegas? In terms of just the mechanics itself, no. Is the gameplay worse? Yes. Is it more mediocre? Yes. Is it more frustrating, bizarre, glitchy, like you're getting killed because your hit frame box is like lagging? It's buggy. And it's not buggy in the way that the game crashes, it's just buggy where it's like you're getting hit by random projectiles, the cover doesn't really work, like, it's just not that well, it's just a game that is not very well put together, and it's such a basic level of that, too. It's from the foundation of the game, it's just not very well put together. It is a mediocre game. This is something that I would expect put out by EA. Hey, it's a new Ubisoft RPG. Hey, okay. It's not terrible. It's got certain positive, redeeming attributes. Is it less immersive than Far Cry 5? Clearly, yes. Because at least in Far Cry 5, as goofy and as much forced diversity that was crammed into it, at least the people in the setting, for the most part, took it seriously. At least the story had that going for it. At least the antagonists and the reasoning for what's going on, the motivation for your character, is at least there. With this game, it makes no sense at all. It's just like you're going through the motions and no one really gives a shit. Like, you go to turn in the supposedly most wanted guy in the system, who, in the, whatever, the solar system or the setting anyway. You go to turn in this mad scientist who saved you from a spaceship, which is just floating in space, that anyone could have stumbled upon, basically. You get freed from there. He's the most wanted person by the board, apparently. You go to turn him in, and it's just like, oh yeah, I'd love you to turn in this guy, but you need to go do a fetch quest for me. It's like, fucking what? And the guy's explanation is, oh, he's just another incompetent white man. It's like, come on. Like, give me a break. Like, it wants you to laugh, but I'm not laughing at the joke. I'm laughing at the fact that that is the joke. It's post-ironic humor, and it's pathetic. Like, this is not a Borderlands setting, and you so desperately want it to be. It's like, let's take Borderlands, but with a BioShock aesthetic. When it's like, no, this game should have been BioShock, Mass Effect, maybe one other game, with some levity, sure, but not Rage 2. You're like, yo, let's take Rage 2, BioShock, and Borderlands and make a fucking game. And goddamn, is this not the bastard child of that idea? I'm not going to go as far as to say that this game is terrible or bad, but it's mediocre. This is an utterly mediocre game. And I'm sorry if you want me to rant and rage about this game, or if you want me to praise this game, but I really do think that it deserves neither thus far. Like, I'll try to do my best to finish it, but like I'm like 11, 12, 13 hours in, and I'm like bored, thinking to myself, well, what else can I play? You know, should I, pop Persona 5 back into my PS4 and play that? Like, hey, I just bought Red Dead Redemption 2 for PC. Oh, I can go online, and but that's out on the 5th of next month. Oh, I'll have to wait for that. Like, what can I do in the meantime? Because this game is fucking boring, and I probably won't finish it for that reason. It's not captivating, it's not immersive, it's not keeping my attention, and I'm sorry, like, that you have to keep my attention. Any game, it doesn't matter what it is, good or bad, you have to keep my attention. That, to me, is the make or break with games, is if I don't finish your game, it's because you're boring me. You're boring me with your content. And being that this is an entertainment medium, it speaks well of the industry. I could go into my normal spiel about the industry, the state of it, but it's like the idea that you have limited options, limited time, limited window, you have finite resources to utilize, and you're hiring SJWs, you're hiring Ashley Birch, which is a big red flag in my view. You can say whatever about her being in New Vegas, but she's been on the outs for a while now. She's no longer the hot shit she once was when she was doing whatever show once a long time ago where you could justify her for the sake of celebrity and being an okay voice actress. But the second I heard her doing a phony, like, rural accent, I was like, holy shit, this is Ashley Birch, isn't it? And I looked it up online. I'm like, yep, there we go. And I was like, I guess I shouldn't be surprised by this because, so much about this game is just ramrodded bullshit that shouldn't be there. And like I say, it's not the problem. The problem is that this game is not immersive. Skyrim had atmosphere. Skyrim had the aesthetic. Skyrim had the soundtrack, the atmosphere. Say whatever you want to. I saw a lot of people for a long time dumping on Elder Scrolls Skyrim. It was an immersive game in my view. You could say whatever about the voice acting, the story, whatnot, the gameplay even. Say whatever you want to. It was an immersive game in my view. And even Fallout 4 had an immersive aspect to it. This game has none of it. Nothing at all. It is not immersive whatsoever. Because no one in the game takes the setting seriously. No one takes the story seriously. No one takes what's going on seriously. There's dead bodies and death all around these people, and everyone sees it as a fucking joke, and there's no explanation. There's no explanation to the humor. There's no explanation to any of this. And again, this is not Borderlands. Like, I have no idea what they're going for. It's unbelievable. I mean, my view of this game playing it. You know, getting past the soundtrack, the gameplay, the mechanics of the game, like all the real cores of the game, like what you actually need, the setting, even the graphics, but getting down to the nitty-gritty of the theme, the dialogue, the humor, or the lack thereof, like the narrative of the game itself, how that incorporates the dialogue, the humor, the themes, whatnot. It seriously is on the level of being worthy of the angry video games nerds saying, what the fuck were they thinking?
What were they thinking?
What were they thinking? I can only imagine what they were thinking. What were they fucking thinking? What were they thinking?
What were they thinking?
It is that bad. And like I say, it doesn't necessarily mean that the game itself is bad. But it is on that level of, what are you going for in this? I legitimately cannot tell. I cannot tell what it is you are going for with this. Because this game, as of yet, is so mystifying in its... not even contradictory. No one takes this shit seriously. No one is taking this setting seriously. No one is taking the death seriously outside of one character. The renegade in Edgewater. Like, the botanist who lives in the greenhouse, you know, in the small map. You know, slightly across the map. She's the only one that takes, and it's the death of her own son. She's the only one in the fucking game that's taking any of this seriously, outside of maybe her and the mad scientist, who has a noble ideal of let's free the people on the Hope. Like, he's the only person with a fucking motivation. Even your character has no fucking motivation whatsoever. It's like you're just placed in this setting. And I know how they want that to be of like, oh, you can make choices, but what are the fucking choices? What are the fucking choices thus far? Oh, well, you can kill people. Okay, but why would you want to? You can blast away this person. Well, why would you want to? You're not going to get anything off the fucking body, so there's no point. Like, you get more out of killing NPCs in GTA 5. Like, what is the fucking point? You can do it. Doesn't justify it. It makes no fucking sense. Well, you can have a poor reputation. Well, what does that even do? It doesn't do anything. There's not even a morality meter in this fucking game. You can't even roleplay to that effect. There's no point. Yeah. I knew this game was a crapshoot. And by the way, I didn't buy it on the Epic Store. I bought it through Windows. Like I say, I play this game. I'm 13 hours in, 12, however many. I have no idea what they're going for in this game. I have no idea. I don't get it. It's not immersive at all. At all. One of the most unimmersive RPGs I've played in a long while. More unimmersive than Rage 2, I think. And that game sucked. As much forced diversity, if not more. I don't know if you could have facial hair on your female characters in Rage 2. But as much forced diversity, for certain. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I really have no explanation for what they're fucking trying to do with this game. Like, they intentionally made their game worse. And it's like, fucking why? Just why? I mean, what can I say? It's the state of the industry, man. If it's not historical revisionism in fucking Red Dead 2, it's fucking forced diversity and post-ironic humor dog shit in this game. In the Outer Worlds, from Obsidian, which everyone thinks is the greatest developer in the fucking world. If it's not them, it's fucking the based Polacks at CD Projekt Red putting gender pronouns in your... Oh my god, is this such a fucking joke? Oh, man, this industry, man, oh, God, dude, you can tell, like, I don't care. It's so dumb, it's so boring, it's so done before, and I don't know, I've seen people defending this game like, oh, your anti-SJWs are as bad as the SJWs. Your game is fucking mediocre. Face it. This is not New Vegas. Face it. You know, what can I say? Like, this game is not good. It's not. And if it is, here's the thing, right? If it is good, just defend it. Tell me what is good about this game. It's a slow burn, Louis. 13 hours isn't enough, apparently. It's like fucking Dragon Age. 100 hours in, Louis, it's gonna turn right around. And I don't think this game is 100 hours long because the maps are very small. Very small maps. And I was like, for how poorly optimized the game is, I'll take it. I will take the small maps with how badly optimized this game is. But it's Obsidian. Surprise. It's badly optimized. Yeah. I would not pick up this game at full price. If you got it at half price, $30, maybe then. If you're an RPG guy, pick it up at $30, but do not pay full price for this utterly mediocre game. I will defend Dragon Age 2 over this fucking game. Because as bad as Dragon Age 2 was, at least it did some things that were interesting. At least aspects of that bad game were interesting. I am trying to find a reason to continue playing this boring, trite, unoriginal, unfunny game. The biggest example of when you know you're dealing with an utterly mediocre game is when you are struggling to find a reason to continue playing it. I mean, I would not... If someone told me that Ubisoft, did this as a sleight of hand, that Ubisoft made this fucking game, I would not be surprised. That is the tier it's on. And if you disagree, just explain it. What the fuck am I missing? Where is the depth? Where is the expertise? Where is the excellence that I am fucking missing with this game? Because I do not see it anywhere. Where is it? It's done well enough to be AAA, but it's so mediocre that it is AAA sort of RPG. That's what this is. The only reason why I'm going to put this out on my main channel rather than my secondary channel where it should go is because I know this is an ongoing controversy, and I might as well capitalize on it. I might as well capitalize on that ongoing controversy that's apparently happening that I'm semi-aware of. Because, this game is not worth full price. It is utterly mediocre. It is the most unimmersive game I've played in years. It is less immersive and has more force diversity than fucking Far Cry 5, to where it was just over the top in that game. As bad as the force diversity was in Far Cry 5, and it was so terrible in that game, it was jarring and just unappealing in that game. Because it's just like, it doesn't fit the setting. Your characters don't fit the setting. Their dialogue doesn't fit the setting. It's just like, the main storyline is so unbelievably serious, and you have these ridiculous, over-the-top, overly forced, body-diverse, fucking ridiculous characters that compose the setting of the game. It's so jarring and unimmersive. As bad as Far Cry 5 was, Far Cry 5 is more immersive than this game, period. And this game is supposed to be an RPG. I will defend Far Cry 5. I will not defend this game. Take that for what you will. And if I'm wrong, fucking explain it to me. Because I swear to God, the dialogue, it's like, it's not poorly written necessarily, but the humor is so bad. And it's intentionally bad. Like, it's post-ironic. It's supposed to be bad. What the fuck? Like, it doesn't fit this setting at all. And it's everyone. It's fucking everyone, man. Like, it has all of the building blocks, the foundation to be, like, a very colorful horror game. And yet, it's like, everyone treats this like it's fucking Borderlands. Like, everyone's fucking insane and goofy. And yet they're in serious positions, they're in serious roles, and yet they don't really take it seriously. it's just dumb. It's not even contradictory. Really, it's not. Like in Far Cry 5, there's contradictions. You have the goofy aspect, and then you have the very serious aspect. Fine, whatever. It works in Saints Row. It doesn't really very much, it doesn't congeal very well in Far Cry 5. It congeals a little bit better in Red Dead 2. If you kind of overlook a few things in Red Dead, there's the contradictory aspect to the narrative, and yeah, you can, it's Rockstar. There's the levity, and then there's the serious nature of it. It works a little bit in that game, but it's like in this, it's all goof. It's all nonsense. It's all levity, and the levity is not funny. I'm not laughing. Like, in South Park, not necessarily the stick of truth, but Fractured But Whole, I found it to be truer. I was laughing while I was playing the game. I was laughing. Even when it came to the gender aspect, when you go see Mr. Hickey, I think it is, and he's like freaking out about the gender aspect because of PC Principle, it's funny. It's funny. Like, there's so many jokes in that game with the rednecks. Like, it's funny because, like, even if you are, like, a straight white male, they still hate you for being a straight white male. Like, the humor and the levity in the South Park games, especially Fractured But Whole, it works. I found myself laughing time and time again while playing that game. I didn't even crack a smile in the Outer Worlds. And it's because the jokes aren't funny. They're intentionally not so. It's post-ironic humor. It sucks dick. And in the end, even with some of the well-written dialogue and the decent voice acting and the rest of it, the narrative itself, it is a matter of what the fuck were they thinking while they were developing this? Simply that, what exactly are you guys going for in this game? Because I literally cannot tell. I've played this game for 10 hours or so. I don't know what you're going for. Please explain. See me after class. Because I don't know what the fuck is going on. What are you going for in this fucking game? Death and misery everywhere. Meanwhile, the jokes you're cracking, because everyone's cracking jokes, are not fucking funny. For fuck's sake. This Buffy-style fucking SJW humor, Twitter humor, that has been outdated since 2005 is still fucking going on in games that are not even going to be on Steam until 2020. Jesus Christ. What the fuck? Oh, man. At least this game can bring a smile to my face because it's so ridiculous. And not in a good way. I swear to God, man, this is Life is Strangeworthy. It is. It's not good. It's not good. I'm sorry. If you disagree, just explain. Just legitimately explain to me. All right. Thanks for listening.